So let's go ahead and find some trigonometric limits. So for the first problem here, let's call it this one. We are looking for the limit as x approaches 0 of sine squared of x. So let's go ahead and plug in 0 since sine is a nice continuous function. So we have sine square of 0. Well, we know sine of 0 is 0 from our trigonometry knowledge. So that's going to be 0 squared. So this limit is simply 0. All right, now let's go ahead and try the second one. We want to find the limit as x approaches 0 of tangent of x. Now, if you're not familiar with tangent, that's fine. By using the definition, you can rewrite tangent as follows. So the limit as x approaches 0, tangent, we know it is sine over cosine. And now we can do the direct substitution again. So we have sine of 0 over cosine of 0. Using our trig knowledge, we know sine of 0 is 0, cosine of 0 is 1. And that is indeed 0. All right, now let's go ahead and try this problem right here. That's number 3, let's call it that. So for this limit, we want to find the limit of the function x squared minus 1 times 2 minus cosine x as x goes to 0. Again, I'm going to do the direct substitution and hoping it will give us a nice number. If that didn't work, then we would have to use some identities or some other ways of simplifying this function. But that wouldn't be necessary here. Looks like we can simply go with direct substitution. So if I substitute 0 into every x I have in this function, I get the following. I have 0 squared minus 1 and 2 minus cosine of 0. And 0 squared minus 1, that's simply negative 1 times, and we know cosine of 0 is 1, so that is just 1 right there. And this would simplify to negative 1 times 1, and that is simply negative 1. So this limit happens to be negative 1. All right, now let's go ahead and try this problem. So for this one, we want to find the limit of the function square root of x plus 4 times cosine of x plus 5 as x approaches negative pi. Again, we're going to substitute negative pi into the function, hoping it wouldn't give us undefined statement. So we have the square root of negative pi plus 4, which is just a number, times now cosine of negative pi plus pi. So what is this? Well, we know the square root expression. I can just write it as 4 minus pi, just to write the positive number first, times, now pi and negative pi, well, that's just 0. So that is cosine of 0. And we know cosine of 0 is 1. So all of this is simply 4 minus pi. And pi is about 3.14 and some decimal. So this is a positive quantity. So this is good. That will be the limit of this function. Now let's go ahead and try our last example right here. So for this problem, we are looking for the limit of the function square root of 7 plus secant square of x as x approaches 0. So if you're not familiar with secant, rewrite it. We know that secant of x is really 1 over cosine of x. So I can rewrite secant as 1 over cosine. That will give me the limit as x approaches 0 of the square root 7 plus 1 over cosine x squared, since this was secant squared. Now I can go ahead and do the direct substitution. So this is square root of 7 plus 1 over cosine square of 0. And what will this give us? We'll have square root of 7 plus cosine of 0 is 1. So 1 squared is 1, 1 over 1 is 1. This is simply square root of 7 plus 1, 8, which can be written as 4 times 2, and 4 will come outside of the square root. That's 2 square root of 2. So that's the limit for this function.